Imagine this. You are arrested. You are falsely accused of a crime. As hard as you try, you are unable to communicate with authorities because you use a different language. You are scared, lonely, and unable to contact people who can help you. You are unable to use your rights. Deaf people need to know their rights in order to protect their safety and security, particularly when dealing with law enforcement. While the deaf population uses their hands and eyes to communicate, officers often misread these body and hand motions as resisting arrest or failing to respond to verbal commands. This is due in large part to the lack of training and sensitivity to the deaf. Normally, ASL interpreters do not arrive on the scene at the time of the incident. Usually police arrive and are uninformed to the fact that the individual they are dealing with is deaf. Because of communication barriers, these interactions are high risk and sometimes lead to unsafe circumstances. There have been instances where police officers do not consult with interpreters or provide special arrangements for the person who is deaf when getting their statement. Philp Wolfe, from Portland, Oregon, was involved in a domestic violence dispute and had his friend called 911 for him. His friend made it clear that Wolfe was deaf and that it was crucial that he be provided with an interpreter when police arrived. The Portland police stated that it was up to the officers to decide if an interpreter was necessary. The police arrived to the scene with no interpreter. Wolfe sued the city of Portland, stating that the police failed to adequately interview or protect him from the accused abuser because they would not provide a sign language interpreter. Wolfe won. For more than a decade, the DC Police Department's Deaf and Hard of Hearing Liaison Unit has been building bridges with the deaf community. It's the only specialized police unit in the country dedicated to protecting deaf people. Officer Myra Jordan, who leads this unit, came up with the idea 14 years ago. She learned sign language as a child when she played with a neighbor who was deaf.
I learned how to sign at the age of 6. My neighbor was deaf. We played together as kids.
14 years ago, Officer Jordan went to the chief of police with the idea to combine her love of sign language with her love for police work.
The Metropolitan Police Department was struggling with communicating or interacting with the deaf community, and we needed to build that.
Some consider the Deaf and Hard of Hearing Liaison Unit a commendable effort by the police force. Others argue that although an officer had a deaf childhood friend, that does not necessarily mean that the officer is the most qualified, culturally competent leader when dealing with the deaf community. Cultural competence is a phrase that refers to the ability to effectively interact with individuals from different cultures.